Pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Multiple Wheels of Steel. It's currently part 4 of 29 that I have planned for this first season here in 2022. And I really ought to mention real quickly that this thing behind me is just stunning by all means. It's one of the only few examples that I might actually be able to get to do in contribution towards this new series. And of course, we certainly can't forget about the many background changes, the many outfit changes, the many changes in general that are happening here. I'm hoping to switch things up every now and then. And there's even probably times where I would go back to some of the same properties that some people have agreed to allow me to film on location, and also to administer promotion to their likelihood. For the 4th installment of Multiple Wheels of Steel Season 1, I am proud to present the 2020 Lincoln Nautilus, an impressive luxury flex fueler that has so much to offer, so much functionality, and there's certainly more where that came from. Being that the Nautilus is a more recent addition to that of Lincoln's newer lineup, it's fair to say that they've come a long way since making cars like the Continental and their lineup of Mark vehicles. And so with that in mind, you're going to see a lot of things talked about on this exact model. First of all, I have to discuss a lot of things related to the key fob it comes with, because it's certainly not like most others that we've seen so far. The one thing that you'll definitely want to check out is the fact that it does have standard lock, unlock buttons, not to mention remote start. And then of course you have yourself automatic trunk opening. So I really ought to say that the key fob itself sure is a boatload of entertainment. But by all accounts, does it actually stack up to what we've seen so far? Well, there we go. So let's just take a look at this interior. And unfortunately it doesn't really have the smart key access system, but as you can see, with a nice sort of ruby red exterior color and the interior color being a light beige, it really is quite a blend. It also does include some faux wood accenting, as you can see here. And if you just noticed, the power mirrors automatically adjust, especially upon opening and closing the doors. And there you are. You also have various lock, unlock buttons, power window controls, seating memory. This interior is certainly stacked by all accounts. If we're looking at various things out here, including a storage compartment, standard 2 cup holders, and you have various things out here, including double layered storage, which is certainly handy. But if we go ahead and get this vehicle started, you'll pretty much see for yourself that this is a transmission system that is not like anything that we've ever seen in the automotive industry. And then again, we have seen plenty of other unique innovations that some manufacturers have put together in some models. But just like with most vehicles these days, to start the engine, put your foot on the brake and press the start button here. It has itself a touchscreen, which of course does in fact accompany many different things out there, from sources, home button, audio, climate, phone, navigation, app settings. Of course you have standard knobs which relate to volume and tuning. So that of course is always handy. But you can see in the transmission over here that press these buttons. Reverse, of course, sends you to the integrated backup camera. and not to mention an overhead view, which is pretty handy, accompanied by satellite picturing, which is always helpful to see in case you might have trouble looking at from the sides. There's neutral, drive, and even sport mode equipped onto this as well. So, by all accounts, there's already a lot of things in this vehicle that you definitely have to keep a good lookout for in case you want to go find something like this. It's also interesting to note that these vehicles are in fact already getting a little cheap at this point. Not necessarily surprising to see, but at least for the used car department, it might work. This vehicle currently has 1,279 miles registered on the odometer, as it's a 2020 model. It currently gets 22.9 miles to the gallon, and it has a time that is totaled at 46 hours, 12 minutes, and counting. This digital display also does include the standard RPM and MPH gauges, which can adjust to kph as well for those who are international only. Trip registration, of course. The total miles is 29,298.6 and counting. You also got fuel gauges and temperature gauges equipped. Temperature, compass, and whatnot. The steering wheel, of course, is also just as stacked as what the center console itself has. It does have a mock-up of various things, including the telephone functions, setting, navigation, knobs for volume and tuning, and various other things. This knob over here can control the headlamps in various ways, including automatic lamps, and it also does have a button to automatically lift the tailgate. Just like that. So, if you thought that this vehicle was pretty impressive already, then well, you can definitely see more coming up from the end here. Interior illumination, sunglasses compartment, not to mention a rather large sunroof, because as you can see here, it spans almost the entire length of the vehicle itself, and how to open it up is simple. Yeah. And it's pretty massive, as you can see. It automatically comes open and certainly gives you a nice viewing of the great outdoors. So, by the way, this is the 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4. As you can see here, it's on property where this vehicle is in fact being filmed on location. And I already have an episode of this thing in action up on YouTube at this moment. Do be sure to check it out on the playlist itself or by the link in the description below. Let's get this thing fully set up. Of course, various other functions will also include a garage home link, interior illumination, of course, which is, of course, also indicated by this part right here on the visors that, of course, double as vanity mirrors. So that pretty much is all you need to know about the interior based on what the front seat has to offer. Signature Nautilus styled rims mounted onto Continental tires. And by looking at the back seats, it does have plenty to offer in the same way as the front side. Probably the biggest point about this one is the fact that it does have some rather large capacity. As you can see here, you set the headrest down, fold the lumbar forward, and you're able to expand the cargo space in a breeze. Rear ventilation, seat storage, and also various other things, including a DC import and a couple USB ports. The center seat, which is able to fit a 5th passenger if need be, does also come standard with cup holders. And the typical sort of subwoofer-esque speaker design is mounted on the doors themselves. So as you can see here, the space is just unbelievable by any means. Certainly makes it to be one of the largest Lincoln models in history. Certainly dwarfed by that of the Navigator, but yet it still does well. Nice glowing interior illumination for the rear itself. Grip handle, coat hook. And I feel like that just pretty much covers that part. As I've mentioned before, the usage of the key fob can be done to open the trunk automatically. But if that's not possible, there is a button underneath the Lincoln emblem itself that you can use. Various functions, of course, will include storage hooks, which can aid in keeping certain heavy items in place. Then, of course, you have yourself the ability to, in fact, utilize a 3rd seat. Not to mention a large spare tire, which also comes in standard with booster cables, first aid kit, ice scraper, and other various tools that you will definitely need out there on the road. Both of these seats can also automatically collapse simply by pressing the buttons over here. You got a 12-volt outlet, some more ventilation, interior illumination, and just an astounding level of cargo space. Which that alone is certainly the reason why most people who are working very hard like myself will want to own something like this at some point. That's pretty much all you need to know about the Lincoln Nautilus itself. At least for a 2020 model like this, it has everything you could ever possibly look for. Ginormous storage, ginormous horsepower, and plenty of other unique attributions that applies to Lincoln models like this in this time period. But if there's one thing that's truly missing, well, we're going to take it out on the road. And so that is part 4 of 29. Quite a long way to go, but still. I can't imagine what else I might actually be able to come across. But yet we will see what the future holds. And so without any hesitation, without any kind of stopping whatsoever, we're going to get through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, everything else that I have planned for the rest of this whole year. Lots of work to be done, lots of promotion, and lots of credibility to be put together into this new series. But until then though, if you want to see more, go down to my channel to make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.